Inns of 2025. Parental neglect of the white youth. 1960s Viet Minh communist propaganda pamphlets. AR-15 magazines with rounds ordered. Tracer, hollow, 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 hollow. Tracer, incendiary. Hollow, 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 hollow. Tracer, incendiary. Hollow, hollow, etc. So I recently moved out of my parents' house and into the big city, where I pay the landlord much of the money I earn to sit in his building and pick the dead skin off my face as I watch YouTube videos. Thus, as the surrogate older brother that you never had because your mom took him in the divorce and left you because she hates you, I only find it fair to fill your metropolitan knowledge gaps while simultaneously providing my unsolicited complaints about things that don't matter for multiple minutes. So whether you're a country boy about to pull of his sister, or a well-established urban person used to dodging the urine puddles on the city bus, sit back and enjoy as nondescript white guy complains about urban culture. The sheer volume of shit on the sidewalks is overwhelming. Within the first week, I realized how bad homelessness really is when I saw mushy brown puddles every few feet and not nearly enough Great Danes per capita to justify this as neglectful ownership. Like there are either a lot of homeless people or a lot of dogs with gaping assholes shitting out heaps of McDonald's chicken nugget clusters onto the sidewalk, because when it rains and those chunks fall apart, there are just one too many signs that it came from a guy with Hep C living next to a Walgreens. I've never seen a pile of dog shit with a broken crank needle and half a cup of Play-Doh in the same log, so it's only natural to assume the worst. I've definitely started appreciating the homeless that stay in sleeping bags, though, mainly because it suppresses the airborne biohazard emanating from their crusted over anus. Like if the government worked efficiently, they'd bottle the scent of all the homeless people and drop it as a bioweapon on any Middle Eastern country they're mad at that day. But I have neither the necessary connection to Lockheed Martin execs, nor the will to step within arm's length of a homeless person, so this will remain an abstraction for now. Now we're about halfway through this diatribe on homeless people. Now I'm realizing this is coming off a bit callous, a bit cruel even. And hey, you're entitled to your opinion, as well as that long, hurtful comment you're about to post. But before you send that message, I want to challenge you. I challenge you to pause this video and go for a walk. Go for a walk in the most densely populated town center in your area and search for the stinkiest of homeless people you can find. Then all you gotta do is ask if they want to shower at your place. You're not gonna do that. Okay, so now we understand that we're bullshitty, but I'm just the one saying the words. Even though it's still not right, let's get past it and continue on. And I find it mildly amusing that even though they can't afford a shower, they still find a way to get an electric wheelchair to chase you down for your groceries outside Jewel. And homeless people just don't have a sense of the working man's time. Because if I get done at 6, do an hour of chores, and then have 2.5 hours before going to sleep, and somewhere in there give them the food I'm bringing back from the store, that implies that they think I have the time and will to drop the rest of my groceries off of my place, go back to the grocery store, and buy the same thing just to get haggled by the same cabal of homeless people as I did before. Then when does the cycle end? Does saying no the second time make me an asshole? The third time? What's an acceptable amount of saltines to give away before they've had enough? Now I'm the dick for not giving away my egg whites, because I don't want to go back and forth from the store and extend the time I spend doing a chore that I don't really want to do. And if you think I'm an asshole, you're right. But I don't want to spend my time wading through puddles of pee-tainted slush, walking back and forth from the store, just to feel like a better person. I've definitely become more apathetic since moving to the city, just by the sheer volume of vagrants patting me down on the daily. And although this is a negative arc for my already dwindling compassion, I'm tired of them asking me for shit. Like the number of people that'll open mouth cough in their hand and then try to dap you up to pander for $20 is pretty absurd, given you see them sparring the other fent junkies on the train on your daily commute. So I'd rather not fuel whatever public terror they're contributing to, and keep that 20 to myself. I reckon that's enough discourse on the omnipresent sidewalk turds to quench anyone's homeless thirst. So if you're homeless, please don't bother me. Dogs. Now they say that dogs are the best judge of character, but I disagree. The number of negative interactions I've had with dogs since moving to the city has risen exponentially. And I have to think they know about the body. And I have to think their judgment is flawed when the people telling me that are those who scroll on their phone while their animal squelches a shit onto the sidewalk. Like if I showed a 3-year-old a ball and pretended to throw it, it would take substantially less time to realize the ball is still in my hand than the Australian shepherd that lives down the hall. Got my eye on you,
100.
So yeah, dogs are a good judge of character. If you're a fucking
person.
I mention this because I've been told multiple independent times that I'm the problem after their dog barks at me for simply passing it in the hallway. And frankly, I'm tired of getting the stink eye because they can't be fucked to train that cretin. Admittedly, a fair amount of this disdain is because I'm a grown man who still gets startled by the barks of what is essentially a large rodent. And subsequently, it looks like a massive bitch in front of strangers. But fuck them anyway. I'm about one incident away from dropping to all fours and chasing the next dog that does this. I hope it shits on their carpet in fear from watching an albino with foam falling from his mouth charging toward them. I think this is less so about the dogs than it is about the owners. The dog is just a less hinged version of their values and discipline. And when the owner doesn't take the time to teach the dog any ounce of control, it's not really the dog's fault for behaving poorly. I feel like the people who have them are primarily young singles that don't draw fulfillment from any other hobbies or activities. So the dog's more of a means of keeping them company than an entity that they really care about. If they truly wanted this dog, they'd put in the effort to train it, to make everyone's interactions with it more enjoyable. I spun up this whole philosophical point about what having a dog really means. Well, this could very well be a cope for hating people who are too inconsiderate to train their dog to not bark at every hour of the fucking night. So take this as you will. I'm thinking about buying a gun. I've had enough packages stolen to start to question the safety of my neighborhood. But the thing is that the people by me steal for sport rather than necessity. I don't know if that makes it more or less safe, but it must be true because I can't believe there's anyone down bad enough to rip open a random Amazon package to steal a bike brake wire for utility. Like they were just thinking about tuning up their Schwinn and just happened to stumble upon the exact spec brake wire they were looking for. And that makes me even more mad because a person resorting to stealing random shit out of Amazon packages probably doesn't have the domain knowledge to install a bike brake line, so it's an even bigger fuck you to me. Like, do you really need it that bad? I guess if you do, then you can take it, but it doesn't make me less pissed that I have to tolerate the urine scent on the bus while I wait on the replacement. So that's why I want a gun. But buying a gun is a real moral dilemma for me because I really have to consider how much I want to kill myself. Like I really have to dig beneath the surface and determine whether it's just a loose idea that I tell myself 3 times a day or if it's something I could really commit to. What's unfortunate is that this is something you can't test out. There's no going halfway on gun ownership. Like there's no service for renting a gun under the pretense of thinking about yourself, which would honestly be very fiscally responsible for what I assume is a lot of people. Instead of dropping $500 on a gun, you could rent it for $20 for one afternoon and see how it goes. It might come out to $60, $65 with the late fees, but that's still a bargain. The late fees on account of them not returning the weapon because they killed themselves. Just so we're on the same page. Despite the plethora of differences, living in the big city is essentially the same as the suburbs, except everyone is generally more angry. I think that probably stems from paying a shit ton of money on rent every month for your body to be compressed into a desk chair, then driving home and experiencing the incredibly high rate of horn usage from all the other people who hate themselves. But you know, the city's where the action is. So if you're an elderly man smoking a cigarette at 6 in the morning, completely psychologically free, as you watch the youth scurry to their next meeting or exercise class, taught by a guy fucking your gym crush that you're afraid to talk to, feel free to meander about the city, carefree, as you gradually decay into the earth that bore you. But if you're a youth of angst who fiddles with a thermostat while watching a Vietnam War documentary to prepare mentally for the Ukrainian World War III draft, walk in fear as your every move is surveyed, and every dollar you spend is collected by agents of the regime, waiting for you to slip from the grasp of sanity, before dispatching your feral soul into the depths of the war-torn Kiev. And when the courier chopper crash lands from heavy drone fire, and you tremble in your Timberlands as you realize you'll finally meet your maker,
God.
Lower your weapon and look to the skies, unsheathing your arms as you transcend into your final form, a human meat shield for the militant
people.
Bodies. This is what you were meant to be. It's time you go to him.